Good evening, namaste. A very warm welcome to all the attendees who have joined today. We welcome you all to the third Best Talk session, and we have some amazing bunch of students, teachers, and other professionals who are joining in for the session today. I'm really sure that you're very much excited to be part of it, to learn more about the topic, and we are really glad to see so many young members joining in today, and the numbers are still raising, and I can see the people are joining, everybody's greeting. It's really shows that how pumped up they are about the session. And we will wait for a few more people to join in, and then we'll start the session. I just want to know how all you're feeling. Just say, how has your evening been? Was it good, bad? How was exhausting? How was it? Just type it in the chat section. And how much are you excited about the session? So I can see great, very excited for the session, exciting. It's just amazing, very excited for today's session. So that clearly shows, and the speaker today also is seeing the chat box. So she must also be seeing that how quite enthusiastic the students are feeling right now for the session. So for many of you participants have been joining and supporting us since the beginning of the Best Talk session. And but for those who are new to this session, we welcome you all once again to the Best Talk session. And I would quickly give a brief about the Best Talk sessions for you. So Lung Care Foundation initiated the idea of Best Talks to interact with you all as young minds, and also to empower and carry out initiatives which will make a difference and will also guide the students to take up some responsibility of social responsibility on how they can make a change, how they can take up initiatives. When you are knowledgeable about certain topics, you will be able to take the lead more understandably, and do you will be able to take the actions and initiatives based on the knowledge that you're getting. So through Best Talks, we are trying to guide you, to empower you with some ideas and initiatives that you as young minds can take up and lead the change. So the theme for today, as you all know, is digital tools for youth to advocate for clean air and climate action. And the session is done in partnership with New Delhi Hub of Global Shapers Community, which is an initiative of World Economic Forum. Now, Global Shapers Community has been working and taking actions globally and through their local hub projects for climate change, equity and inclusion, education, and entrepreneurship. So the session today, of course, has a relevance and importance because we all are relied on digital platforms. Throughout this pandemic time, we have been engaging on digital platforms for all the things, be it online classes or even with connecting with the families. So when we think about digital platform for taking actions for a change, it is an important topic that needs to be discussed right now. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. She's Mayuri Bhattacharjee, and she's a climate reality leader alumni and was mentor the Climate Reality Project at Brisbane 2019 and Global Training 2020. She is current community champion for Global Shapers Hubs in India, East, Bangladesh, and Bhutan, and she has been honored with SDG champion for Gender Equality, World Economic Forum 2020. Now, about Mayuri. Mayuri is a passionate mental health and gender equity professional as well. And in her current role, she is working on an urban menstrual health program in Kolkata. She is currently running a campaign, Dignity in Floods, to ensure gender sensitive disaster management response in the flood affected state of Assam. So, with being associated with the climate reality training and everything, she has a vast knowledge about how to take actions and knows the relevance about how important it is to tap in the social media and digital platforms for making a change. So, without any delay, I would invite Mayuri to take up the session. Over to you, Mayuri.
Thank you so much, Judith, for that wonderful introduction. I'm really excited to see so many young adults and also their parents and teachers if they've joined today. And definitely, I would also, like to know, before I go into the formals, like, how was Diwali for you? How was the air after the Diwali happened? Could you just have some responses in the chat if you could type? How did it feel in the morning after Diwali? Unbelievable, polluted, terrible. 789 AQI. Okay. Pollution. All right. All right. So just quickly, how did you feel? Very nice. Okay. Very nice. Okay, fine. You can feel nice of Delhi. I could see nothing from my balcony. Okay. I wanted to know this because I am not from Delhi. I am currently based in Kolkata. I am from Assam, a small town called Tezpur in Assam. And I've been working on climate issues, like Judith says, as a climate neutrality leader. And definitely, this topic is very close to my heart because I have found value in online platforms. And now we are connecting digitally. I'm connecting with you from Kolkata through a digital platform. Shows how much of power these platforms have if we use it correctly. So Judith, I have the PPT controls, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You can try sharing it once, otherwise I'll run it from my end.
Yeah, I'll just share it. So I'll share my screen. Is it coming completely?
Yes, it's visible.
I'll just put it in presentation mode. So you can all see it's in full screen.
Yes, Mayuri, yes, very clearly.
Okay, thank you so much. So like Judith said, our topic is about digital activism and digital advocacy, and it is definitely a very vast field. So today we will talk about how we can unleash the power of online petitions. So, but before we go into the details, it'll be good to break up these words, activism and digital. So activism, if I go by a dictionary definition, is the use of direct and noticeable action to achieve a result, usually a political or a social one. Now let us put it into a simple words. Activism has to be direct and noticeable. For example, if you want to do something, if you want to act on something, you cannot do it right at home. I mean, yes, you can do maybe with your parents or if you want something, but you want it to have a larger impact, you have to make sure that it is noticeable to other people and it has to be directed to someone. For example, I'll take the example of a very famous activist, Greta Thunberg. You must have, I'm sure, heard of her. She's so famous for the school strikes for climate change. Let's say Greta Thunberg had thought of doing something about climate change. She just took out her chair and sat. She would have just, taken it out and she would have put it in her lawn and would have just sat there. Would that been an activism? I don't think so. But what she did, she went outside her parliament and she took out a placard and she put her demands out there. So that's what activism is sometimes. That is one way. It has to be noticed by people. It can be through physical, it can be also through digital platforms. And that is why we'll now come to the definition of digital advocacy or activism. It is one that uses the internet or digital media as key platforms for mass social action. Right now, I think when we are in a pandemic, this is the best time to talk about these things because now we are doing classes online. Now we are doing so many things online. We are also having festivals online. We had a festival like Bhai Dooj a couple of days back. I'm sure some of you celebrated that. Some of us also did it digitally. So right now, digital platforms are also being used for activism. When we talk about the word activism, sometimes you visualize marches, strikes, which are really powerful. The power of people coming out in numbers and supporting a cause is really powerful. It makes an impression when governments or corporation or anyone, they see it, they do feel, okay, people want this change, we have to do something. That it makes an impact. But at the same time, right now, we are living a part of our lives on internet. We have emails, we're connecting, we have social media profiles, we have so many things. Even governments have their Twitter handles, they interact with citizens. So right now, the power of people can also be, translated into online spaces. So there are many such platforms, there are many such tools which give people the power to use, internet or digital media to do something, to make some change happen. So we'll go to I want to take you through some of the tools just in brief, like what are the digital tools for change. So first and foremost, I would like to talk about online platforms for filing petitions. Change.org, Chatka.org, and Awaz, and many more are some of them. These are the famous ones. Social media, there is Twitter, there's Facebook, and there's Instagram. You see on the right-hand side, I put up 2 screenshots of Lisi who's from Manipur, and Aditya Dubey. I'm sure if you're from Delhi, a lot of you have heard of him. So they use the social media for advocating for climate action or climate change. So they use, some of them, they use Twitter, some of them use Instagram. And Lucipria is very, uses Twitter. It seems it's her favorite tool of choice. So she's very active on those. And apart from these, there are also messaging platforms. Sometimes you have seen messages via WhatsApp. Telegram is not so popular yet in India, but a lot of people are using Telegram. It's similar like WhatsApp. So sometimes if you want to send out mass messages on something you want people to support you, let's say you want waste segregation in your neighborhood, maybe you send it to your neighbors that, okay, we need to do something, and let's send a couple of WhatsApp messages on the neighbors group or a neighborhood group. So that is also kind of activism, and you're using WhatsApp as a tool for that. There's something called podcasts. I would really like to know how many of you have heard podcasts or know what podcasts are. If I can just see a couple of responses. Have you heard podcasts? Okay, great. Fantastic. So a lot of you know it. So podcast is basically, let's say you know about blogs, you know about video blogs. Podcast is completely an audio-based way, let's say an audio blog, in other words. So podcasting platforms nowadays, there is Anchor. Anchor is a really good platform where you can record your own voice. You can also publish your own podcast. And there's also Spotify podcast. You can upload files on it. So some people also use podcasts to talk about climate change and environment. And this is also part of the advocacy or the activism that we're talking about to create change. There are also emails, blogs, and websites. Why I put emails is, let's say you want something to address to your mayor. There is an environment issue. Maybe there's a garbage bin which needs to be cleared, or it has not been done for a long time. You cannot go right now physically, or maybe let's say you want to send an email. So you send an email to your mayor's office. That is also sort of activism, that you are trying to make some change happen by making your mayor aware of, okay, this is a problem, let's do it. And if you ask others also to send those emails, that is also a form of collective, like people coming together and sending emails. That's also kind of powerful action. Blogs and websites, sometimes on blogs you can write your opinion on an issue. Let's say you're from Delhi NCR. There's so many issues in your city you want to talk about. Maybe you want to talk about trees, you want to talk about pollution, you want to talk about maybe increasing the number of bicycle lanes in your city. Then you'll talk about these issues. You can open your own blogs. There are many sites, websites. There's Medium. There's also other websites which give you a space to put your own blogs, such as Youth Ki Awaaz. So definitely these are tools. So now you may ask that, okay, should I use all of these tools if I want to, let's say I want to take an action tomorrow, I want to do something. Will I use all of these platforms together? The answer will be a mixed one. Let's say I'll use a very common example. It's something that I see in my house. So your goal is to have a campaign or something you want to do for change. So in my house, my mom and my dad, they love making khichdi, right? Okay, so my mom has a different style of making khichdi, and my father has a different style of making khichdi. My mom likes to put everything in a pressure cooker, and she puts the vegetables also in a pressure cooker, while my dad likes to fry the vegetables first in a kadhai, and then he puts it in a pressure cooker. Sometimes he only uses a kadhai. Now, in this scenario, to make a khichdi, the goal is to make a khichdi for both of them. They're using various tools. My mom is using a pressure cooker. My father is using both a pressure cooker and a kadhai. But it's their choice. They have decided, okay, this is how I want to achieve my goal of making a great khichdi. So same like that, your campaign or something is like a recipe. You are the one who will decide that, okay, do I want to use this platform, or let's say I want to use only Twitter. I feel Twitter I'm really comfortable with. I have got so many followers. I'll use this one, or I'll use a podcast. I'll release a podcast. It depends on you. So, but today, because we are talking about one tool, because it is good to talk about one tool and get our our mastery over one. I'll talk about the online petition platform change.org. Why change.org? Because it currently has more than 1 crore users in India. It is definitely one of the largest petition sharing or posting platforms. It has a wide reach. So before we go into it, Judith, can we have the poll? I want to ask a question, like, can online petitions bring positive change? If you can answer on that poll.
Yeah, the poll is already up, Mayuri. So they're answering. So they're still voting.
Okay.
37% have voted. The voting numbers are increasing. So I'll let you know the count as soon as they are done with the voting. Yes, almost done. Still voting. Okay. 70% voted yes. So the
Okay.
first poll, can online petitions bring positive change? Yes is 86%, no is 2%, and not sure is 13%. Your take on it, Mayuri? Yeah.
Okay, that's really good to know. I'm unable to see the poll, but okay, my answer is yes. All right. So that's really good to know that you believe in the power of online petitions. I don't have to do much of convincing that, okay, it works. I'll just go to back to my presentation then. I'll just share my screen. Yeah. So because you've overwhelmingly voted that they can bring positive change, I would like to talk about a real life example of how it brought about change. So, if you are living in East Delhi, you must have heard about Ghazipur landfill. Most of the waste of Delhi gets dumped here, or used to, till a couple of years back. And at least 1.5 years ago, there was a lot of news about Ghazipur landfill being overfilled and being really a stinking mess. Some articles said that it was almost the height of Qutub Minar. Some people also started posting hilarious ratings on Google Maps saying that this is a really great site. It was a really sarcastic way to also bring attention on this problem. So why am I talking about Ghazipur landfill and why this petition is really important? So two people, Parul and Seema, who are from Delhi, they were also very much, irritated with this issue and they wanted to do something. So this feeling, I think we all have that when we see a problem, we want to do something, but sometimes we don't know what to do. So, but then they realized, okay, let's file a petition online on change.org. So they filed this petition, and their demand was they asked, commit to clearing up Ghazipur landfill, and the hashtag was clean the mess. And they addressed it to, you can see on the right hand side, I put a screenshot. They addressed it to Gautam Gambhir, they addressed it to Atishi, they addressed it to the Minister of Health and PWD, addressed it to the Mayor, and so on. So one thing about this petition was the timing. This happened they filed this just before, I think, the Lok Sabha elections last year. So then Gautam Gambhir and Atishi were contesting the election. So they thought that, okay, let's also address it to them. So they can also say that, okay, if we come in power, either of us, whoever comes, we'll do something about it. I have also posted, I saw someone talking about the links of petition. We'll definitely post the links of petitions that I'm sharing today later on. So what happened after they filed the petition, they wrote about the issue on change.org and they published it, they shared it among friends. So what happened after that? It was a petition victory. What happened? Gautam Gambhir won the Lok Sabha seat. And when he came into power, he responded officially on change.org to Seema and Parul and to all the people who had signed that he is going to take some action. And you can see on the left, he's talking to people. And he's talking to people like in his department and also other officials that he wanted to do something. And he was really vocal on it on social media. And this petition was definitely, they had asked that for an IAS officer from Indore to be brought in as a consultant, as an expert, because this person had done something good in Indore with a similar landfill. So that is why Parul and Seema said that, okay, if we could get this person as an expert. And Gautam Gambhir agreed to it. So you can see on the right, there is, if you can see, this is Parul and this is Seema. They're holding the red placard with the signatures and which said, the ask what they wanted, and they met Gautam Gambhir. So all this was possible because they filed a petition online, and Gautam Gambhir took notice of it, and they could meet, and they were common citizens. It's not that Seema and Parul are really important politicians or really famous people like a celebrity. They're common citizens like you and I that you can meet on a Delhi metro any day. So, but they could meet a famous person, a cricketer, a cricketer and a politician like them and talk to them about the demand. And I saw recently that there are some positive developments that are taking place for Ghazipur landfill. So definitely this gives hope that online petitions do work. So that was the story of Seema and Parul. I want to talk about my story, that why I believe in the power of online petitions. So I said before that I am from Assam. So you know Assam being a state which sees floods every year. So I was there, and I was working there, and then one fine day when I was working on field, I was speaking to some women who were in flood shelters, and they told me about the horrible conditions that are there in the flood shelters. Some of them also said that they were being harassed when they were in a flood shelter. There were no proper toilets, and women had really terrible time being in that space. So I wanted to do something at that point of time, right? And but curiously, I did not file a petition right then, because I thought that, okay, I have to write to the government saying that, okay, this is a problem. So I wrote to a couple of people. I wrote to the disaster management agency. I also wrote an article and a blog. I was invited to once a conference. I spoke to, let's say, 100 people. But even then, there was not much that was happening. And then I heard about, the success of my friend who had filed a similar petition, but from Jharkhand, not exactly this petition. It was a woman's health related petition, and she had got a lot of response. It got a lot of coverage. People got to know about it. Now I thought, okay, let me try and do it myself. So I filed a petition. I published this petition last year in February 2019. And when I published it, I did not think I would get much support. I thought, okay, Assam is such a small state. It is just hidden in one part of India. People may not even know what goes on. And floods are seasonal, so nobody will care about it. But I was so wrong. Initially, of course, I did not get a lot of signatures, but I was persistent. I was sharing. I was doing a lot of things. So some of the successes that I saw with this petition was that right now, today, as I talk to you, we have crossed more than 1 lakh signatures, and it's growing. I filed it last year in February 2019, and it was so amazing that after a week, or let's say 10 days, there's a disaster management minister. He responded directly. You can see, if you can see, there's one response. If you go to my petition link, which is down there, www.change.org/dignity in floods. We'll share this later on as well. So you don't have to go right now, stay on this presentation. So if you go, you can see the minister's response, where he said that this is a really important issue. I'm so glad that someone brought about it. We'll do something about it. After this issue got extensive media coverage. And now what's happening? You will ask, okay, Mayuri, what is happening right now with the petition? So right now we're talking with the government departments and the agencies. Now I'm a common citizen. It's not possible to get appointments with the government so easily. But because I filed a petition online, and right now because of the power of the numbers of signatures we have, and also because I brought this issue, which is not talked about, on a public platform like change.org, the government took it seriously. So that is why I really believe that a petition page gives you a space to express your views, your thoughts about a certain issue. That is why I really believe in this power. So I feel that if you ever feel that I want to do something, you can consider this platform of online petition platform, such as change.org, as an option to do your activism or your advocacy. So with this, before I go to the next part of the presentation, I would like to put another poll. So have you signed a petition hosted on change.org? The first question. And the second is, have you started a petition on change.org? It will be great to see your answers.
Yes, so they are voting right now, and both of the questions are up. I'll just share the end results once they are done voting. 47% have voted, and the count is going on. So yes, it's fluctuating. The answers are going yes, no, 64, 65%. Yes, they're still voting. 70% voted. Just a few seconds more. Yes. So for the first question, have you signed a petition hosted on change.org? The answer to yes is 35% and no is 65%. And for the second question, have you started a petition on change.org? Answer is yes is 9% and no is 91%. So yeah, that's the results for the poll, Mayuri.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith, for sharing that. So it's good to know how what the audience in the room has experienced with it. So I have made this presentation in a way so that we know from scratch how to start our petitions online on change.org. So let's start from the basics. Let's say you don't have a profile on change.org yet. So it's like an email. If you, I'm not saying that you sign up directly. You can definitely sometimes maybe use your parents' help or your friends' help to, who has an email to do this. If you want to start a petition, you have to register with the username, password, give your email, etc. I've shared screenshots on the right hand side, and then you, by doing that, after that you create a login ID. It's like any other email you do. So then when you log in, you'll go to the bottom side of this of my screen. You can see a screenshot where it says start a petition. So it's a really
Sorry
yeah.
to cut in, Mayuri. I think the screen is not visible. Like you have not shared the screen. If
Oh, sorry.
sorry to cut in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, I think now it's shared.
Yes, it's visible now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we didn't miss much. So this, I was on this page. I was telling you how can we start a petition on change.org and from scratch. Let's say you have never signed or filed a petition, which is quite a number of, and it's quite a number of you, and it's completely fine. So you have to register with the username, password, and ask for certain details. For example, email. You have to create a login ID. And after you do that, it'll take you to a page. For example, if you see on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the tab Start a Petition. When you go to Start a Petition, after that, the process becomes really self-explanatory. It'll ask you to put a petition headline and so on and so forth. So like I said, so one of the most important parts of any kind of petition or any kind of, let's say even an application you're writing to anyone, is the headline. Because the headline will be the first thing that people see. Even when you share your petition, the headline will be the first thing that anyone sees in that share. So this is also your first opportunity to convince people to sign or support or even to click on that link. So have a really powerful headline. And your headline should definitely mention what you're demanding, right? Or what your ask is. So demand or an ask are similar. It means ask is a demand. So for example, I've shared this screenshot of a petition, which is again a Delhi NCR focused petition, which says make a 5-state policy to tackle air pollution in NCR. So here the demand is very clear that make a 5-state policy. So then another thing to keep in mind ideally is that your first word should be a verb or an action word. For example, here it's make, others can be provide, make, issue. In my petition, it is build 50 women-friendly flood shelters. Similarly, you can use so many other verbs that is relevant to your demand or anything that you want to do on. Another, I think, good thing, it's good to have these guides in place, is a SMART guide. So SMART is a short form for something which is specific, measurable, achievable, responsible, and time bound. So specific, what does specific mean? Let's talk about the screenshot which is there. I've shared. Make 5-state policy to tackle air pollution in NCR. It is really specific. You know what it wants, you know where it wants, and it is also achievable. It's also measurable in a way that it talks about 5 states. Maybe the last 2 letters of responsible or time bound is not coming out, but like I said, it is a guide. It is good to hit maybe at least 3 of these in your headline ask. So it is, why should it be achievable? Let's say we can't say, okay, let's have another planet, let's move to another planet on Mars. It's great, maybe in future we may have to, but right now it's not possible. So we have to be realistic about what we want our headline to be like. So just keep this in mind as the SMART guide. it is a good guide to guide you. It's okay if if your headline doesn't have a time frame. If let's say this could have been time bound, had the headline said that make a 5-state policy to tackle air pollution in NCR by 2021, because then you're giving a time to the government that, okay, I want this within this period of time. So another headline I want to share is this one. It says Amazon and Flipkart commit to eco-friendly delivery, 50% less plastics. So here, you know, who is it addressed to? Who is this petition addressed to? It is to two companies, Amazon and Flipkart. Here, the verb is like commit. So you are really clear that what this person wants. So they want you to commit, this company to commit to eco-friendly delivery, and it is also measurable because it says 50% less plastics. And then she also, the petition starter, she also uses a hashtag plastic free delivery. So here I think all the letters of the SMART headline, which is like specific, measurable, achievable, responsible because you know who is responsible to do it, which is Amazon and Flipkart, are being met by this headline. Time bound, not exactly, but let's say if they would have added by a certain time frame, by maybe 2020 or December 2020, then it would have been time bound. But sometimes some petition starters who start petitions prefer not to use it. They want to keep it a bit open. So it depends on what kind of petition you're also filing, what is your campaign about. So let's say now you have your headline. So what is the next step? The rest of the step is your body text, where it will talk more about your petition, where you'll feel why you think this is an important demand, and the government or the company or anyone, they need to take notice of it, and something needs to be done about it. So your petition body text, how should it be? You should use simple words. You should write like you're speaking to an acquaintance. Let's say a lot of you spoke about the Diwali air. You can say, let's say you wanted to start a petition. Okay, I want something to be done about it. So how will you express yourself to your friend that, you know what, the air after Diwali, the next day I got up, I could not even breathe. So these are expressions. So your petition should be in a way that it is simple and it seems like you're speaking to anyone who is reading your petition. It should be conversational and use shorter sentences. And remember, a petition is not a school essay. You don't have to write a big school essay sort of a thing where you have to write something 800 words, because you have to see people will be reading it on their smartphones or on their laptops. They may not have that time to do it. So it's good to be concise and put your what you want to say, your campaign or what action you want people to take in let's say maybe around 400 words is a good limit. Let's not go beyond that. Some petitions do go beyond that, but it's good to keep it simple and shorter. And you should, because you're filing a petition online, not only for the government or whoever you're addressing it to see, but also for people to sign and know about this issue. So another thing that online petitions do is raise awareness about an issue. So someone maybe in Kerala might sign a petition which is for Delhi, which is great, because then a person in Kerala knows about the problems in Delhi, and that way, for example, in my petition, I'm raising awareness about a problem in Assam, and I have supporters who are signing from all over the country. So that way, I am also raising awareness. So it is very important to also ask your people to sign your petition. Ideally, you should at least say it twice in your petition body text. And it's good to also make bold some of your some of the words that you're using in your petition body text. And if you're using facts and statistics, it's really important, because it is good to give some facts and statistics so that there is a solid ground that why you're filing this petition. Let's say you want to talk about ban of firecrackers. You have to give some fact that why you need this ban. Is there was the air quality really bad last year? So if you're using such kind of data, facts, or statistics, you should give links or credit where you're using it at the end of your petition. It also increases your credibility. People think, okay, this person knows what they are talking about. So now that we have our petition headline and petition body copy, the next step is, who should I address my petition to? So you have something like you should research and find out who is the correct decision maker. Now you may ask, who is a decision maker? So decision maker is someone who has the power to make this change, who has the power to uh, act on your petitions. For example, if it is something about the environment, you may want to address it to your local government, and who is the environment minister, you may want to do that. And this is an important step, because this person, company, or a department, let's say in case of company, you saw one of the petitions which I shared was Amazon and Flipkart. So that petition started addressed it to to someone who is top up in the companies, who could take action on the petition. So even so, these people, whoever you're addressing your petition to, should have the power to make this a reality. And if they do not have that influence or power or jurisdiction, your petition may not work at all. For example, you want to do something in India, you cannot address a petition to the US president. It has to be addressed to someone who is local, some government agency or some Indian company. It has to be local here. And you should also get proper email IDs. And you may feel, okay, how will I get proper email IDs? But that's one great thing about democracy that is in this country right now, is that now politicians have to file their information online. If you need politicians' email, there is one link, myneta.info, it is there. And right now, because people are online and visible, when companies want to be transparent, most often you'll find emails with a bit of research of let's say of private companies, if any CEO or anyone, you will find it online. So these are readily available. So I want to just use an example. In the first place, I talked about Ghazipur landfill. Whom did they address the petition to? So because that was election time, that is why they addressed the petition to the two leading candidates at that point of time for East Delhi area. That was Gautam Gambhir, Rishi. And apart from that, they addressed it to the mayor of Delhi, to the commissioner. And they also addressed it to the principal scientific advisor of Government of India. I asked them that why did you choose this person? Because they said that they had found from their research that this person was working on something similar. So they decided that, okay, this person can be a good person to tap into. So this is a really important step. I'll tell you in a very simple words why. Let's say you have a problem with algebra, right? You have a problem with algebra. You would take it to whom? Will you take it to your music teacher? Maybe your music teacher might have been a math genius, but you would not take it to your music teacher, right? You would take it to your mathematics teacher. It's similar like that. What is your petition about? If your petition is about clean roads or maybe a proper transport system or biking, you might want to address it to someone who's taking care of transport in your area, in the municipal corporation, or in the Delhi government, whoever is doing that. So it's really important to understand that who has the power, who is looking after this issue, and who are the other people who also might be looking after this issue. So this is an important step. And because I understand that it may not be possible for you to do all these research, please feel free to take the help of teachers or your elders or your parents for this kind of research. They may be very capable or may have the knowledge to guide you. So right after this, I want to talk about this petition, a case study. This is a petition which is started by Mishika. Mishika is just like you, a citizen of Delhi, and she filed this petition last year. Her her demand was, she said, regulate bursting of crackers in New Delhi, and she used the hashtag Dhua Nahi Diya. If you want to know about this petition, we'll definitely share. Like I said, there is the link below. So what happened to this petition? I want to talk about the headline first. So you see, it is specific. It's also in a way, it is achievable. She's talking about Delhi, not let's say regular bursting of crackers, or talking about she's not talking about regular bursting of crackers all over the world or something like that. That would really not have been possible. She talked about something which is achievable in her own city. So what was the petition body text? I'm not going to share the entire thing. I want to share on the left-hand side. This is how she started her petition with. It had a really strong beginning. It had personal touch. So she talked about her own experience. If you can see the text on the left-hand side, she said that growing up, Diwali used to be my favorite festival. The mithais, the hanging of lights, the flower decorations, the colorful rangolis, seeing the night sky lit up with fireworks. Diwali was a magical festival in every way, but with exponential increase in pollution with each passing year, it has become the time of the year which I dread. So here she's making a really personal connection to anyone who is reading this petition. It seems that she's speaking to you. She has not used really tough words. It is something she's speaking from her own experience, how as a child she felt like Diwali and how it has become such a miserable experience right now. She did it at the very beginning. Then, towards the end of the petition body text, she also used some certain facts. She talks about a ruling of the Supreme Court. Then she also talks about certain actions the Delhi government can take. She talks about like limiting the bursting of firecrackers. She talks about having a helpline. She also talks about having public spaces. So she also talks about at last she talks about limiting sale of crackers. So these things, so she this thing she mentions, which brings the fact aspect of her petition. So what happened to this petition was that Arvind Kejriwal, who's CM, responded officially, and he said that I'll issue a guideline. And last year, I think there was a light and sound show during Diwali. So he said that this is something that we are going to do. So this was definitely a victory. So you may say that, yeah, what happened next year, people started doing it. I want to say that it is not only the responsibility of the government, but it is also the responsibility of citizens to also be more mindful about not bursting too many crackers during a season when we are having so much of pollution. But definitely this was a victory in a sense that she got the chief minister to respond to her petition. She was a common citizen like you and I, and she felt she needed to do something in her own capacity, and she did that. And later on, if anyone wants to do more activism about this and wants to take it forward, can always refer to the response of Arvind Kejriwal to the CM to this petition. Then they can always say that, hello, Mr. Kejriwal, you said this will be done. What happened after that? So this is also a way to remind governments or remind people that you had committed. Now we want you to follow up on your commitment. So that is why another way why a strong headline, a strong body text is also very important, because it gets the response from not only people but also from the government. So before we go to the next step of our presentation, so right now you know how to draft a great headline. You also know how to have a good body text. You know what to write in your petition body text. You also know whom to address it to. So it's almost ready, and you're now ready to publish your first ever petition on change.org. But before we go into the next step, I want to pull up this poll. Judith, could you share?
The poll is up and the people are voting. So the question is, our petition should ideally have a smart headline. What does T stand for in word smart? So the attendees are responding to the question. 30%, 35%, it's increasing. 38, 39% voted. So I'll just let you know the end results once they have done voting. It's 54% voted. 61% voted, still voting. Just a few seconds to go. %65 voted, 66% voted. Few of them are also posting their answers on the chat box. Yes. So the poll results are out, and the question, our petition should ideally have a smart headline. What does T stand for in word smart? Truthful is 24%, time bound is 61%, tactful is 11%, and timeless is 4%. So time bound has the most votes, then truthful, then tactful, and then timeless. That's the end results, Mayuri.
That's really great. I think most of you had it correct. It is definitely time bound, and but I see most of you answering it correctly. So top marks to this class. This is a really good class. So I'll go to the next part of it. So like we said, now we have our petition text ready. We have our headline ready. We also have email IDs of the people that we want to address this petition to. So, and we have published it. That's it. So what is our next step? I'll just share my screen and we'll know about it. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I want to go. So, so after you have published your petition, it's live on change.org. There are a couple of things you may want to do. For example, let's talk about the last petition that we spoke about, which was Mishika's petition, just Dhua Nahi Diya. She used this hashtag. A hashtag is a good way to also, make people remember, okay, this is the Dhua Nahi Diya petition. For example, in my case, I have the campaign running, dignity in floods. It is the hashtag I use regularly. So people remember my campaigns by the hashtag that I've used. So it's good to have a smart hashtag. Or if you do not want to use a hashtag, it may be that there are some hashtags already being used. There's right to breathe, my right to breathe in case of Delhi and air pollution. You can definitely sometimes reuse that, but it's sometimes good to be a bit creative and good to think with your friends. Okay, I launched this petition. I want to have a smart hashtag. You may have someone among your networks who may have a great creative idea and might give that idea. So it's good to have that smart hashtag for promoting or sharing your petition. Leverage social media and influencers on social media influencers. So this is something, because I know your students, maybe not all of you have the access to social media platforms. It may be a good idea to take the help of your parents or your elders or anyone in your family who uses social media and has a smartphone or has access to this. It may be good to, hey, can you help me? I wanted to do something, so can you help me share it? So definitely they'll do it. And after you filed a petition, it's good to share your petition with your friends and your family, ask them to sign, and then again share it with more of their own friends and their family. And after you've filed your petition, let's say you filed it, you will see on your back end, after you've done it, you'll see on a button which says post and update. So I've put a screenshot on the right hand side. You can see post and update. That's a screenshot for my petition. So because I had filed the petition, so I can see it. You cannot see that. You cannot post an update on my petition. Only I can do that. So if you ever file a petition, you'll see this. Posting updates is a good idea, because some people, even if it is not a great number, because you do not get great numbers initially, even if it is, let's say 100 people or 200 people, they have believed in your petition and they have signed it. So it is good to connect with them and also post an update. Let's say you wrote a letter to your mayor about this. It would be a good idea to tell your supporters, you know what, I did this, and I'm hopeful that they will respond. Could you also, let's say, send an email to the mayor? So that way you're also posting updates, and sometimes your updates, you can also ask your supporters who have signed your petition to take action. So the last thing after you're doing this, you can also follow up with your decision maker. Like I said, if you have filed a petition which is addressing your mayor, you may like to follow up with their office. And nowadays, I've seen, at least from my experience, government offices are quite proactive on social media or on emails, and they do respond. So I'd like to go to this part. This is really important because you're students. I know that we have got our limitations. It is really important to be safe online. I saw that someone had asked, what about fake links being posted or people trying to take your money? So that is why it's really important to be safe online. There are many guides to be there, how you can do it. Definitely take help of your parents or your teachers to know how to be safe online. So I would say that if you're not so comfortable and you're really underage and you've never used it, it's good to ask help from your parents, ideally, or your friends, how to do these social media promotions. And sometimes, you may feel that a problem is really big. Let's say air pollution, it's such a big problem. But there are so many small parts to it, because you live in a certain part of Delhi. Maybe there's something you can do in your area. For example, in my area, one of the problems for pollution is open air chulhas. Maybe I will say to my local councillor, can you have an eco-friendly option to people here who are using this open air chulhas to cook their food on the roadside, because that is definitely adding up to the air pollution. So you can start from your neighborhood itself. You can do something. So start small and start from your own neighborhood. Definitely take help of your teachers or fellow students. For example, when you're writing a petition, a text, you may feel not so comfortable with the language. You may feel that, okay, I can do it better. So maybe there's someone in your class who's great with English and writes really good text. You can take that help and see, can you go through my text and refine it, or see if there are any grammatical errors, because sometimes we make grammatical mistakes. That's so common, and because we are writing it, the mistake does not come to us, but someone else, if they read it once, it's called proofreading, they may find that mistake. So it's good to also share the text someone with someone, someone is who's good with the language. And when I talk about language, I would also like to inform people that on change.org, you can also file petitions in Hindi. It's not just English. English, because it has a global reach, that is why English is preferred, but definitely you can also file petitions in Hindi. For example, my petition, because it's for Assam, it is also in Assamese, and it's also in English. The next thing, a tip for you, is your personal network. You don't know how much of power you have in your personal network. Your Mosaji, your Mosi might have someone they know in the government who can connect, and maybe they can give you a meeting in your, to you, and say that, okay, you can meet this person and you can talk about this if it is bothering you, and you can take your parents or your teachers and say that, okay, we want to go together and talk about it. So your personal networks are really powerful. They can help you in talking about your campaign, and also making sure that the issue that you want to raise on is also amplified and it reaches more people. And another thing I would really like to see, people sometimes ask that, shall we get 1 lakh signatures like you did? Let me tell you, in the initial 5 months, I did not get more than, let's say, 5,000 or 6,000 signatures. It was a really slow growth. I've seen this growing only in this year. So it's quite normal to get a few signatures in the first few weeks. Just have faith and have some patience. I really want to talk about the example of Greta Thunberg, because initially when she started and she was sitting outside her parliament with a placard, nobody really took notice of her. It's only after a few weeks she was going on every Friday and she would sit outside that the media started taking notice of her activism and what she's doing. And then she became, now she's a worldwide phenomenon. So that's something with your petition, or something that you're trying to do, even if it is not a petition, even at your own level. Let's say you want to start waste segregation in your apartment. Maybe initially you may find only a couple of people who want to do the waste segregation. For example, waste segregation as in separating your waste into wet and plastics and paper. Let's say those things that you wanted to do. For example, in my case, I think my neighbors initially said no. So I started doing it myself, and then others also, they joined, and the progression was really slow. So just have that faith and perseverance. You'll definitely see the results. And I would like to emphasize that just be kind to yourself. This is something, a really long journey. Sometimes people see politicians responding just in a couple of weeks. Sometimes it could be years. For example, my petition, I do have a response of one minister, but it is not that the women-friendly flood shelters have been built yet. So I have to be kind to myself and say that, okay, Mayuri, you've done your bit, you're trying. It will happen. So I'm always like thinking that this thing will happen because I have given my everything. I've given my hard work. I've shared it with my friends. I have so many people who believe in this cause. So definitely one fine day I will also get the success. So always be kind to yourself. Do not be hard on yourself. If you feel that, okay, why am I not getting so many signatures? This petition got it. It's okay. Because sometimes you see on change.org, some of the petitions that I shared, they did not have 1 lakh signatures. Some of them had just a few thousands. But the movement, Gautam Gambhir, then for Ghazipur, he felt, okay, there's also public pressure. Media is taking notice, and the international media is definitely taking notice of it. So he decided, okay, I have to act on it. So that is why, that could be also one of the reasons why Seema and Parul, when they filed the petition, it was also a good moment. So just, take it as it goes. Just do your bit. I have shared all the guidelines with you of filing a good petition, of what a good petition can be. You can definitely use them and just see how it flows, and always have fun while doing this kind of advocacy or activism. So right now, do you feel ready to launch your online petition on an issue you care about? So how many of you feel ready? I would like to see your answers on the chat. Okay, that's great. I would like to also quickly understand that how much. Okay, that's wow, that's a lot of response. Maybe we'll. Okay, I'm really looking forward to looking at some great petitions. Just share my screen fast. So I want to leave this presentation with one last takeaway task. It is optional. It's not that you have to do it. I would really like you to go through the presentation and the guidelines and file a petition in the next few weeks using the guidelines in my presentation. And I want you to take a look around you. You'll see there are many problems in your city, but in these problems, you'll also find opportunities to make change for a better city, for a better country as well. So just start small, be positive, and also take help of people. That really goes a long way. And with this, I'll just quickly, say a thank you, and we can take some questions.
Thank you so much, Mayuri. I mean, just after the presentation, I think the chat box has already spoken for the kind of presentation and the session that was, because they have certainly gained so much knowledge and they've said they have learned a lot. I mean, the number of yeses, we are ready, I'll try my best, shows that the session was very insightful and they have get a lot of knowledge, because usually we do learn about petitions, we do see petitions online, we want to sign petitions, but we don't know how to do it, how to start it, or even if we started, are we going in the right direction. But with this presentation, I am sure that the students and teachers who are present here would be have gotten an idea of how to go about it. Of course, they will still have some doubts, but for that also you have shared the PPT, such a wonderful PPT and a PDF for all the students to go through and refer to, and for which the Google Drive link has been shared on the chat box. I'll kindly request all of you not to spam with the messages on the chat box, just so that you could see the drive link. In the drive link, you will get the PPT as well as the PDF document, which you can later on refer to when you want to start a petition, or just to look through, okay, these are the guidelines, these are the things that I have to look up to when I have to start a petition. So with that, quickly, we have got a lot of questions, but due to time crunch, we'll be taking just 2 to 3 questions. So the one question that I saw is, hello, ma'am, I just want to ask you the success rate of online petition in India. Like if we start a petition, how much does the success rate go and how much does it garner amongst the audience?
Okay, so that is a statistic that I don't have access to. It will be something that we need to ask change.org to, because there are so many petitions that are being filed. But from my own personal network, I would say that it has been, let's say, a 60% at least success rate I've seen, thankfully, because some of them have been addressed not only to governments, but also to private companies or to a local agency bodies. So in my personal network, I've seen both. I've seen some petitions going on and some petitions also. So it's like a 60% success rate, which is not bad actually in a country like India where there's so many petitions filed. So definitely, I would say that would not be a bad number.
Okay, so the next question that is, are these sites that where we start our petitions on a safe one? Because as we said, most of the students might not have a social media handle. They might be active through their parents' social media handles. So there might be a concern of whether these sites where they are initiating these kind of petitions, are they safe or not for kids? And even if under its parental advice, your comments, please.
So it is good if you are underage. I would always advise it is good to take the help of an adult. It is good to get their eyes on it, because I don't know of hacking or any kind of unsafe things on change.org. I cannot say much about Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, because these are really different social media profiles. But because change.org is a petition platform, you just post a petition and you post updates. The dangers of being really unsafe is slightly lower, a lot lower than other social media platforms. But still, be safe. Take the help of your adults always, or in the adults around you.
All right. With that being said, we have a lot of questions, but because of the time crunch, we'll have to restrict ourselves. But I'm sure that the drive link that we have shared with the PDF and the PPT will definitely answer your questions. You can refer back to it, go through it whenever you have to, so you can get access to it. So with that, I would like to wind up the session. And first of all, thank you so much, Mayuri, for such an amazing and wonderful session. I mean, even I have learned a lot from it. I am sure that the students and teachers must have learned a lot from it. Of course, many of the best club students in schools have started petitions in the earlier phase, but sure, with this session, they must have got a little bit more enlightenment on what all other factors that can be looked into. So for that, we really thank you, Mayuri, for such an amazing session. We would also thank the Global Shapers Community New Delhi Hub for making it happen. And I'll also like to thank my team members. Without them, it would not have been possible, for all the back-end help that they have been giving. Matushri ma'am, Rajiv sir, Abhishek Kumar, Kritika, Siddharth, Shalini, Neha, all of them, for all the support. Thank you so much. And for the e-certificates, we will be sharing and yeah, already my team members have shared the link to the feedback form. I'll request you all to click on the link, fill the feedback form. Um, you will be receiving, as soon as you fill this e-certificates feedback form, you will be receiving the e-certificates on Friday. You will be receiving the mail today with the feedback form as well. So I'll request you all to keep an eye on your mail IDs as well, because in case you're missing out on the feedback form link here on chat section, you will be getting it via email as well. And you will be receiving your e-certificates by Friday this week. Now, next section, we will be having an exciting upcoming session next. And the session is on mobile storytelling. The session will train the students on how they can create effective videos on different social actions. So, like, it's in collaboration with Pluck, people like us create. So, this session will be more about how you can tell your story, take a course, take an action, grab that mobile phone, speak about it, and how you can come up with powerful and impactful videos and post it on social media to garner that ideas. So for that, the link to register for this registering for this session will be shared along with the e-certificate, which will be shared on Friday. So with that, thank you mail will be shared with you all with the feedback form link. I'll request you all to fill the feedback form link. And on Friday, you will be receiving the e-certificates with the link to register for the next upcoming session. With that, we would like to end the session today. I hope that the digital platform that you have, use it wisely. You know that people say it can have negative and positive impacts, but with the kind of session that we had today, it clearly shows the positive side of digital platforms on how you can take up actions. So with that being said, have a good evening, and we'll see you in the upcoming session. Thank you.